Good Tuesday evening to you all out there, and welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob, Mr. Casey Kinnaman, Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at Homage Apparel. I did not change into my homage today. I should be, but rocking the Techno Bowl for Casey. I love that, by the way. I think I might have to.
Me too.
Might have to get that and check that stuff up. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good. I'm in a garage. I'm adapting and overcoming this week as I've been kicked out of my office till at least Saturday, and it's hot. So that's all I got for you.
Man, you know what? It's like 65 here. We got a nice little cool breeze going on. I don't know. But hey, I just want to say I was not present. These two stallions over here carried the load with the Watson review, which just blew up on YouTube. Thank you to everybody for watching. I don't know why all of you have decided to give us your time, but thank you. It's amazing. It's an incredible feeling as we chase this and come to you every week with multiple videos. We've got maybe we've got a little giveaway happening. Maybe.
We do at the end of this show. We'll announce the giveaway at the end of this show. How that's going to go.
And if you haven't seen some of the new options, well, we're going to bring them to you, and I think they'll make you happy because they made me happy. So
I think so. I think it's going to be fun. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. If you want to watch the show live on Tuesday nights, check out the Twitch or our Twitter page. Twitch is twitch.tv/thebarkingbrowns. If you want to watch live and interact with the show while it's going on, we're live there and we're live on the Twitter as well. So you can check us out there if you want to watch that. If you want to support the show, you can go subscribe to the Twitch channel. If you got Amazon Prime, you can do so for free. Helps us a ton. So those are our housekeeping notes. Gentlemen, more OTAs today, more OTAs tomorrow. The Thursday is open to media. That is the practice that will be open to the media. And the reason it is significant is DeShaun Watson is scheduled to throw on Thursday. So he threw today. Second time he's thrown 2 Tuesdays in a row. I believe he threw last Thursday as well, but last week it was just Wednesday that was open to the media. He's currently, it sounds like, on a plan of throwing every other day when it comes to scheduled practices, which makes sense. You know, you still got 3 months. You still got a big ramp-up period. But personally, I put this out, and I'll ask your guys' opinion as well. I think it's really significant that he's going to throw, and we're going to get to see images of it that are not controlled by the Browns. And what I mean is that they are putting out clips, but the Browns are putting out clips. Yeah. They can show you whatever they want. If there's a rep where, you know, like, not that this is where he is in his rehab, but, you know, like when Joe Burrow, they couldn't hide when Burrow's wrist was hurt because he dropped you could see he couldn't hold a football. Yep. And you could see it. You couldn't hide it. Well, you can't hide it if the media is there because you're not going to control what they're recording. You know what I mean? They're going to record when they want to record. And for the most part, if they want to drop something, they're going to drop it. So I think that's really significant. We'll talk about what it looked like today, but are you guys with me on that? Like, hey, we're going to get some I don't know what I don't know if it's unbiased is the way to say it, but like we're going to get something that's not controlled by the team coming.
It'll be unfiltered. I think that it'll be up to the media's discretion what they post. I think it's significant going into it, but I don't think it'll be significant coming out of it because I don't think there'll be anything to talk about. I don't think, you know what I mean? I don't think there'll be any ill effects from the injury or the surgery that would lead people to be like, oh, you know, the sky is falling. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I think it was smart on their part too to let him get a couple practices under his belt before putting him under that kind of scrutiny, because that's all this is. It's just a bigger microscope, you know what I mean? Bigger spotlight on him himself. So, you know, I think it's kind of because it's a little game they're playing. They obviously feel decent enough about where he's at to time it up with the media being there.
I look at it as a positive thing because We heard about how this is a baseball injury. This isn't something that happens commonly in football. Maybe the rehab was going to be a lot longer than anticipated. We weren't sure how DeShaun was going to respond to like this recovery process, that whole thing. So him throwing in front of, because the Browns have controlled the narrative to this point, right? They only put out clips that are going to make him look good. And this is the first time that there's the risk of the unflattering stuff too, right? But the fact that he's already to this point, and we heard like, oh, hey, maybe we're not sure how much DeShaun's going to be, what workload DeShaun's going to be ready for by training camp. Well, here we are in OTAs, and they're already comfortable enough to put that in front of the media and to let them analyze it. Now, I view that as a good thing, right? Because I can't believe in any capacity that if the Browns didn't think DeShaun was ready, that they would put him out there, because if it was going to go poorly, like that, whichever way, everything with DeShaun is way over here or way over there. There's nothing in between, right?
Yep. So, no gray area.
Yeah. Isn't that typically how it seems to work around here? Yep. There's no in between. Another significant piece that comes out today, Elijah Moore is there. He was not there last week for voluntary OTAs. Again, I don't give a shit if you're at voluntary OTAs. If you choose not to be, that's totally fine for me. But I still like it when players do show up. Like, go ahead.
Well, I'm pro receivers being there because you're installing a new offense, and any rep that you can get is beneficial, even if it is May. And it doesn't mean anything, no, but it just – I want this thing to click as fast as possible. I don't want the fucking rust stuff to linger. And, so does Elijah Moore need to be there? No. Does Amari Cooper need to be there? No. But just because it's a new offense, I would feel better knowing they got a little more time on task.
Well, and potentially getting your quarterback back who you played 6 games with this year, in the past year. I get it. I flip flop on this a lot. But I think overall I'm not that upset because you can never pinpoint if it's a reason that they suck. If they suck, you know what I mean? Because you always want to go back to that stuff. You're like, in the offseason, you're like, it's not going to matter. They're going to be fine. But then if they're not like on the same page and the chemistry is a little weird, you're going to be like, well, maybe if they had some reps together in May. So check back in a couple of months.
The thing with Elijah Moore in particular, that dude's a workaholic. You know what I mean? I don't worry about him not being in shape or not to put the work in or to sharpen his routes. I know all that's there. For me, it's just, I know that specifically with the wide receivers and the quarterback, I just know, and who knows what transfers from Buffalo's offense to this offense. I just know there's a ton of choice routes in Dorsey's old system, a lot of baked in coverage beaters, and that's just time on task as far as just quarterback receiver, seeing things the same. So as much of a head start as they can give themselves, I would like to see.
Well, I think Elijah Moore can be really good in that. Mm-hmm. Some of them choice routes and some of those zone beaters.
I went down the YouTube rabbit hole for whatever reason, and I was just watching the 15-minute highlights of a bunch of different Browns games from last year. And Elijah Moore made a bunch of critical catches against the 49ers, against the Colts, against the Ravens as well. I think about the Jets game. There were definite, I get it, right? From an outside perspective, what we thought we were going to get with Moore and what we ended up getting with Moore last year wasn't there. But there were some nice moments, and I feel like once they started to just say, hey, you're a receiver, you're not a gadget guy, that looked like a much better fit. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to see. I'm assuming that Judy is going to be, wide receiver 2, and Moore is a tremendous option to have as wide receiver 3. And I was just thinking about that the other day. So I get it. My head tells me it doesn't matter that if he's there or not, but my heart looks at that and says, yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay, I think that's the best way to put it. In my head, it's I don't care, but I like it when he's there. I think that's probably, I like the way you articulated that because now I'm kind of okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
and
me.
Nick also pointed out the issue is it was perception of what we thought he was going to happen first, because he was fine. He set career highs. Like everything was good. It's just that we put all this pressure for him to be this next thing, and it's man, that's unfair, especially his first year in a new place. And
right.
We'll see how it goes. We'll do the same thing to Judy, but it also points out something Nick said. Stefanski's always wanted a gadget guy. He's always looking for that dude to do the indirect. So maybe that isn't a thing with Dorsey in this new offense, But Stefanski was always looking for that from somebody.
Naheem Hines.
Yeah, maybe it just makes sense. Like finally, it's just going to be the running back, right? Yeah. We're not going to try.
Well, Hines can run routes. He can do some of that Kareem Hunt in the slot shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can end around to him. Like he can do the end around. And my God, does Stefanski want that end around jet motion?
So bad.
So fucking bad, dude.
There were a couple with Marquise Goodwin last year that went for like 10-ish yards. Like,
Anthony Schwartz took 130 yards to the house.
You know what? I think it's going to be really interesting. Like this is the first year where you look at the Browns offense and maybe Kevin Stefanski's imprint isn't it certainly isn't the only significant voice in the room, right? Because you bring in Dorsey. So I'm really curious to see, like, do we still see, because we've had enough of a body of work from Kevin Stefanski that like you can look at a couple plays and say, yeah, that's Kevin Stefanski's stuff right there. So like, are we going to see that this year? Like, or are there going to be new wrinkles that are more? Is he going to? One of the most interesting storylines as we head into the season is like how much Dorsey offense is there and how much Kevin Stefanski offense is there, and what is that mesh? What does that look like?
I'm sorry, I just saw the funniest clip I've ever seen. I got reminded of on Twitter, so I'm sorry, but I'll show it later at the end of the show because it's probably the funniest video. I think about this. You know how like there's videos that live rent free in your head. This one lives rent free in my head all the time. Okay. But yeah, that's it out of OTAs. Elijah Moore getting. I thought we saw some more zip. Flattering angles today. So we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to talk, and I know you guys have had some very, very busy days, and you don't know completely about this. So there is a proposal from the NFL Players Association that has gone not into effect, but this is something they have proposed starting next year.
Yeah, so that's one thing I knew about it, that it was for 2025. I didn't know anything of the specifics, though.
So I'll read the Tom Pelissero tweet because I think it kind of says pretty well. And I will say Shelby Harris is very against this, and I will get his reaction in just a second. So Pelissero starts it off just saying, end of OTAs, ? The NFL Players Association is working to finalize a proposal to overhaul the offseason starting as soon as 2025. So not necessarily 2025, but that would be the earliest. Right. Eliminating voluntary on-field work in the spring in favor of longer training camp ramp-up, with players reporting in mid-June to early July. So what that would look like is what we're talking about from last week and this week would not exist.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next week would not exist. And the camps in June would not exist. And instead of coming in late July, they would come in somewhere between like the 15th of June and the 1st of July and running training camp to the season. So in essence, nothing but training camp, and training camp would be longer. And for me, I immediately was like, who wants that? Like who wants that? And this is where it got interesting because Albert Breer, he posted that the new proposal to scrap off-season programs, start training camp, blah, 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 would eliminate the annual summer break in the NFL calendar, is going over like Hindenburg with coaches and front office personnel. Because think about this. They get that break in June and July, And somebody else I saw on Twitter pointed out, well, that's when their kids are out of school. So they get to actually spend time with their, a lot of it's great. And that would be completely gone. The only time you would get with your kids is most like maybe a couple of weeks in June, but the rest of it, the time that you would have off, they would be in school, which would kind of screw the coaches and front office people that have that schedule. And then again, I was like, what player wants this? And Shelby Harris, the first thing he did was quote tweet it, thumbs down. Then he put players don't want this either. And then he said, I'm so confused how they're trying to twist this into saying players want this to start camp at the end of June. Nobody wants anything to do with this change. Yeah. And that is what's on the table.
The NFLPA is going to shoot this thing down. Dude, the season is so long. They literally report in around July 20th, typically. It's typically the report date right around there for most teams. And if the best case scenario is you're playing till the second week of February. Think about how long that grind is. To ask him to extend the grind by a month.
6.5, 7 months straight, basically.
Buddy, the game, and these, look, if you wanted to cut these couple weeks, I'd be fine. But not to add to a longer training camp.
Especially if it's the middle of June. Could you imagine that?
And you brought up a good point about the kids, man. Like most of these guys have kids. Most of the coaches have kids. Most schools don't get out till right around Memorial Day, a little before, a little after, whatever. And then if you're reporting June 15th to June 20th or whatever, you have like 2 or 3 weeks. These coaches don't see anyone. They don't see their families for that 7 months. They live and eat and breathe football, like it's – I don't know where this is coming from. Who's pushing for this?
The NFLPA.
The NFLPA is pushing for this?
It was the Players Association that has proposed this.
The reps are going to shoot that down, man. Their locker rooms will go ape shit.
Clearly,
the NFL Players Association is working to finalize this proposal.
Okay, so, it doesn't seem like all the players are on the same page.
No.
It's safe to say. Now, selfishly, if you let me walk like 15 minutes down the street here and go to Berea in June, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. But I get it from a human perspective that that's a lot. But now in the same breath, this isn't anything that baseball players don't do. It's not anything that basketball players don't do, right? I get that the current norm is, and from a human perspective, I can totally understand that. It's not like you can't see your kids when they're not on summer break, or you know what I'm saying? Like if you're home in May instead, I get it though. It's easier when they're on summer break and you can go on vacation or whatever. I totally understand that. But just two thoughts. Every year, the soft tissue injuries, especially early in the year, are rampant. The whole thing. Maybe would a longer build up to the season help that? I could see potentially that it could. And the other thing I think is when you're installing an offense or when you're just whatever your plan is for the year, I feel like when it's broken up, maybe that can the build up there can be segmented and there can be some loss there along the way. But if you got these guys from June all the way through the start of the season, maybe that would help teams. The beginning of the NFL season is always so strange. Teams win games that you think have no business, and it's every year is so different. I just wonder that if consistently being in the building for a longer amount of time would help teams start better, or maybe bring rookies along better, that kind of thing. Because you're putting a lot of faith in guys when you're saying, okay, hey, you're here for however many amount of weeks for voluntary OTAs, that kind of thing. All right, guys, see ya in a month and a half or whatever, and study the playbook and do this stuff. And I get it; they're professionals. You need to trust them to do it. But I'm just saying, from a onboarding guys to your team, a consistent hey, you're here for months, literal months before the season starts. That does sound like a long time.
I know. The more you think about it, the more you're like I get the why, and you did a really good job of articulating that. Like, because that's what they're calling it. They're calling it a ramp up. They're trying to ramp you into full speed. I get that, but like, I think there's other ways you could do it. Like, if things are already
get ready in 6 to 7 weeks. That's all what it is already. You go July 20th, you don't play till September 10th.
Yeah,
true.
Like, dude, if you can't get ready in that time period, I don't know what the extra 4 weeks is going to do for you.
Yeah, I get it. I can get why you would propose it, I suppose. But like in the end, I just think that it just, I think you're just gonna piss. I can't see very many people being in favor of it. Is my point. And
Well,
so,
as content creators, it'd be great because then you'd get more on-field stuff, more clips, more real stuff for us to talk about. But like immediately, I can't think in that mentality. I think about the actual players. I think about their mentality and like what these breaks are for them is the last second to catch your breath before you go into it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, how many more injuries are you going to get because it's so many consecutive weeks of camp? Like, yeah, you get some injuries in OTAs and mini camps. Like that stuff happens because they're playing a very grueling, physically demanding sport. Like that's
the most.
But if you're adding like 4+ consecutive weeks of hard training camp, because if it's just walkthroughs, then why couldn't we have done that in May? Like, so if you're saying it's going to be camp, then it needs to be camp, and that just feels like a bad recipe to me. And
can you imagine how many more fights there'll be?
A lot.
These guys cooped up.
We're on week 10 of training camp, and you just
what you just said. Week 10 of training.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's like
that's yeah. I guess I never really
you just knock dudes out. You're just cracking skulls and like. I don't know, man. It's
weird that okay, from the NFL's perspective, if I'm Roger Goodell, I'm like, hey, like because the NFL just wants to get their hands on all times of the year, all times of the week. We're playing on Wednesday now. We got Thursday, we got Saturday, we got Friday games, right? So they're just dominating the whole week, right? So from the NFL's perspective, and that's who I think this proposal would come from because they're just like, hey, we could invade like baseball time when there's literally nothing else. Besides, like, if you're not a baseball fan in the summer, what other sports are you watching? Really, I don't know. So, like, I could see why the NFL would propose, but from the players' perspective, like, why is this coming from the players? How does that benefit them? I would love to know the logic behind why the Players Association would propose.
That's where my mind is.
Like, that's what Casey's like. I wonder where this is coming from. I'm like, I swear to God, it says Players Association.
That's crazy to me because those reps got to go back to their locker room with this.
Yeah,
like, boys, we're going to do 10-week training. Like I just can't. I can't see people being on board for that. But what do I know?
All right, so we're going to get into a new series starting today. We'll run this through on our Tuesday episodes as we go through. We're going to hit position by position and talk about the health of that position, what that position looked like last year. How many changes? Do we think they need to add pieces and that sort of thing? I thought we would go somewhere exciting.
Sexy.
To start it, I immediately thought quarterback because that's what you're supposed to do. And then I was like, nah, fuck that. And so instead, we're going to go edge rusher. So this episode's going to start off with the edge rusher talk. I don't know what the hell we'll do next week. So I'm going to start with the edge rushers that are on the roster, and we'll start there, and then I will give you a rundown of some of the pressure numbers and the sack numbers and things of the group that was here from PFF on that side. So you've obviously got Myles, Za'Darius, and Obo at the top of the list. Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire, last year's 4th-round pick. Sam Kamara's kind of hung around, can do some inside-outside stuff. Isaiah Thomas, a 7th-round pick from a couple of years ago, hung around on the practice squad. And Lonnie Phelps, undrafted rookie out of Kansas last year, hung around on the practice squad. Those are the guys currently on the roster at defensive end at the edge rusher position. Last year, obviously, your defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, had 89 total pressures. PFF does not do half sacks, so they round things up. So he had 15 sacks from them, a pass rush win rate of 27.3%. despite
good?
being.
Sounds
That feels like a good number. It feels like a good
feels
number.
healthy. Feels robust.
It feels, yeah, it's a nice. Oh yeah, I like
Love
that.
word.
I love that. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Za'Darius right behind him at 61 pressures and 6 sacks. Ogbo was fourth on the team, but third at the position, 33 pressures, 5 sacks. He had a 10.5 pass rush win rate. Za'Darius had an 18% pass rush win rate. After Ogbo, Alex Wright, sixth overall, fourth at the position, 21 pressures, 5 sacks. And the thing about it is Alex Wright's a run stuffer right now. Like that's what he was for, but he still managed 21 pressures and 5 sacks.
Hell yeah.
As your fourth defensive end had 5 sacks. It's just Ogbo should have had more than 5 sacks. So should have Za'Darius. They had so many almost sacks last year. It was disgusting. And then you have to go quite a while until any other edge rushers because you got a lot of linebackers and defensive tackles. But then you get Isaiah McGuire as a rookie, didn't play a ton. Actually only played in 4 games, had 8 pressures, 2 sacks, pass rush win rate of 7%. Sam Kamara had 4 pressures, a pass rush win rate of 13%, interestingly enough. And those are your numbers, just from a strict number standpoint, about the edge position.
Terrible. I don't know. If we're talking about the edges, it's obviously going to start with Myles, but Myles is Myles, man. This is what we come to expect out of him, just sheer dominance. 27% pass rush win rate. That is absurd. That's absurd amongst the absurd, But when you can pivot and your number 2 guy's got an 18% pass rush win rate, you know what I mean? That's
61 pressures. I
honestly feel like this season he'll convert more of those into sacks just because what are the odds that you could pressure, like you talked about Alex, right? I think you said 21 pressures and was it 5 sacks?
Yeah.
So he converted 1 out of every 4 of his pressures into sacks. That's extremely efficient. We're talking about the 4th defensive end.
Yep.
He's not even a pass rush specialist. Like
he only had a 61% pass.
Place.
He had a 61 pass rush grade last year, so he wasn't even really ranked that high, but he produced.
Yeah, it's just goes to show you where this room's at and where it's come from. And it's different in the fact that obviously Myles, you took him number 1 overall and that hit. He's dominant. He's first team All Pro dominant. That's who he is, and that's what we expect from him, and that's what we need from him. But you've rented Za'Darius now, and this will be his 2nd year. Same system. Jim Schwartz super aggressive. These dudes get to pin their ears back and go hunt. But you've also drafted someone like Alex Wright to come through the pipeline, and you can provide quality minutes, and then obviously Ogbo. And I know he set his sights high for this year. He wants double digits. But I think it's a possibility that you could get 3 defensive ends with double-digit sacks this year. I think that's where this room's at. And that should be exciting for everyone.
I love starting with this room because to me, the edge room is the best room on the team. Like that's the core foundation.
Corner's not far.
I know.
Corner's not far.
We're in a great spot, boys.
That's that. And I can just remember that Atlanta game sticks in my head rent free when Myles got in his car crash and there was nobody that even breathed on a quarterback without him. And now I just look at it and it was really cool to listen to Za'Darius Smith's comments that like he had other offers elsewhere and he chose to come back to Cleveland, unfinished business, that type of thing. I think about like Obo is as good of a DE3. Like that feels like an incredible luxury to me to have him as your defensive end 3. And then I think about Alex Wright and his 4 straight sacks in games last year. Really came on towards the end of the year, and I don't feel like it's that often. And maybe it's just a new thing in Cleveland, but I don't feel like it's that often to watch your 4th defensive end produce like that. And there's so many factors to this too. Okay, so you talked about all the pressures and the pass rush win rate. Those numbers should tell you, like Casey just said, that there should have been a lot more sacks than there were. And you're talking about a room that has the defensive player of the year, right? So Myles is the king of that to me. He is due for, how is it? Is it positive regression?
Yeah.
positive regression because everything would tell you. And like I said, I was just watching the clips. He gets so close to the quarterback so often and impacts the play still, which I mean, I understand people in Pittsburgh can't understand that, but inevitably those are Pittsburgh. Inevitably, those are going to result in sacks. They're going to result in sacks. Myles he's impacting the play so often. And there's other factors here too. Number one, you played 5 different quarterbacks last year. Your offense was inconsistent at best. You had a non-existent rushing attack for the vast majority of the year when Nick Chubb went down. So inevitably, you're playing in all these close games, right? Even with Flacco leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns and all that stuff, we also led the league in turnovers, right? So you're consistently putting your defense in poor positions. You're not playing with big leads. You're not getting them in. Now, they dominated some teams, right? I get that, but there were a ton of more often. Like if you let Gardner Minshew cut you up, like that game is still bizarre to me. I just watched it back the other day. I was in Indy. That was what a win. Anyway, my point is I expect the offense to improve this year. I expect the turnovers to come down, right? And I don't need them to be in half, but just don't lead the league in turnovers. Don't consistently put your defense in poor positions and build on leads. Let's see the offense produce at the level of the money that you're spending on that side. And so if you can do that, and I feel like we've been talking about this for like 3 years. So I'm looking for the offense to build leads and to let the defense really eat. And we just haven't seen that in any consistent fashion. And if that does happen, Casey, I agree. I think there could be 3 double-digit sack getters in this league.
Sackers. 3
Sackers.
double-digit sackers.
Sackers.
Cool. Hey, trivia question. Who's third in pressures last year?
Dalvin?
It was.
Mo.
Dalvin Tomlinson had 36.
Mo got hurt. Mo was on his way to a hell of a season.
Mo had 18.
Yeah. And Dalvin did, and not bad for a 2-down player, according to everyone.
Oh, my God. I still don't like – he was coming off of his best year as a pass rusher in Minnesota last year, too. Like 2022, if you look at, like, his grades and the metrics and things, it was pretty clearly – maybe not in all areas, but I felt very clear that he had just had his best pass rushing season. And everybody was like, but he can't pass rush. And I'm like, no, I mean, he is I think he's a great run defender, but like, God, he had 36 of them last year. Like he had 36 pressures, 4 sacks. Like he had a win rate of 9.5% as a defensive tackle. And he's a big defensive tackle. Like he's not one of these like 270 defensive tackles.
Right.
Like, and then of course you got Shelby Harris batting down like 5 passes last year. It was just
I know I'm jumping the position group talks a little bit, but I firmly expect this to be the best interior pass rush the Browns have had from the defensive tackle position. That should lead to the defensive ends being able to like because if you are flushing the quarterback out of the middle of the pocket there, the defensive ends should be able to eat like they haven't had the opportunity to do so.
And you know the guy to me that oh shit, I just figured out my breakout player for 2024.
Bang bang.
It's Alex Wright.
Oh.
And I don't mean like Alex Wright's going to have 14 sacks. I'm not saying anything like that, but like I'm listening. I'm kind of thinking through what you're saying and thinking at I like originally was going to do like Jerry Jeudy as my breakout player, but I did Elijah Moore last year. And, that really bit me in the ass, even though it wasn't a bad year by him by any stretch of the imagination. It probably didn't qualify as a breakout player for many people. So I'm sure that's kind of what I'm getting at. But, with Alex Wright, as his ability to really set the edge is where he, I think, excels. And with what this pass rush can be in the interior, a guy like that closes off the edge where a quarterback is going to try to escape because of Dalvin Tomlinson, because of Michael Hall when he's out there, because of Shelby Harris and Mo Hurst. And And don't forget the guy that nobody wants to talk about anymore, but Quentin Jefferson, he can get after the quarterback, man.
Yes, he does.
He can get after the quarterback. And all of a sudden you have a guy like Alex Wright, especially on those downs where you slide in Za'Darius or you slide in Myles. And, Ogbo's on the other side, and Alex Wright's setting it on the outside. Nobody's escaping out there. And he's just sitting there. And it's like, oh, hey, here's a quarterback. I just take care of this problem for you right now. I just think that he could be positioned to get 6 or 7 sacks this year. Something like 25, 30 pressures as your 4th defensive end. And I think that's what when you look at this big picture, you grade the health of the room and you ask the question, do they need to add? No. Because right now I've got 3 guys that I really like as your edge 5 that are going to be competing for edge 5.
That was my next question, though. Is so do we put Elijah McGuire as the leader in the clubhouse out of those guys?
Isaiah McGuire.
Good question.
Sorry, Isaiah. We've got too many Isaiahs.
I always want to call him Elijah as well. I don't know why.
I did too. I went to say Isaiah McGuire when I was reading the depth chart, and I was reading it, and I still almost said Elijah. I was like, hey, really? Yeah, I think so. What's interesting about that? They've kept Isaiah Thomas around a lot for a guy that was a 7th round pick. He was like 25 when they've got him too, so he's an older guy. And of course he gets the knee injury at the same time that Alex Wright has it. And I don't know if he ever was it was so weird because they both got scopes at the same place at the same time. It was really odd.
No, but then Alex Wright was good to go 2 weeks later, and then we didn't see Thomas.
Right.
He was on the practice squad. And
but he wasn't even back right away. He was back much later.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't remember them ever really talking much about him health-wise until well into the season. But I would say because of draft position and because they played him in 4 games and he had 8 pressures. Let me
a couple sacks, right?
He had 59. He had 2 sacks. He had 56. He had 56 pass rush snaps last year. 8 pressures and 2 sacks. I got to think that something like that, and I think he's got a lot of really nice tools. I got to think that that's the number 1 for the final edge 5, unless they keep 6. But I would call him the leader in the clubhouse for 5. Yeah,
I think
Phelps has an interesting skill set. He's different. So just from a differentiality standpoint, be able to put someone else out there who does it, who's not the same. McGuire feels more like a 2-way. He's strong. He's definitely thicker. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing. I think McGuire definitely has the nod from the experience he got last year. It's just this is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
I could think back to 2 years ago. It was that Halloween game against Cincinnati when Thomas got an opportunity and he swiped the hands. And for a second, you didn't know if that was Myles or not.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way the play looked, it's it's your 7th round pick, and he can't even crack this lineup just from how deep it is. This is a very healthy room.
I think because they've already gotten Isaiah Thomas onto the practice squad previously, they clearly like him. And I think he said the injuries suck, but I think he's had a couple moments that you say, okay. So I imagine they could probably sneak him onto the practice squad again. I don't think he'd be some hugely demanded player. So that would make sense then for McGuire to be your defensive end 5, especially because McGuire, if I'm not mistaken, his relative athletic score, all his testing is very good, right? And you want to keep the freaky athletes in your room and let them, and that's the perfect situation too. You've got 4 guys ahead of you that I think I would say I feel like we are getting into, I can trust Alex Wright to be solid territory now. So it's if you got 4 guys ahead of you and you've got this dude with a bunch of tools, what I know I talk about this a lot, but it still just blows my mind that we're in this place where guys can just develop now. And they don't have to, there's not all this pressure on them to just be amazing immediately.
Especially now that you got Z for 2 years.
Yeah.
You got Z for 2 years. So I guess I guarantee in the building, the hope is by the time those 2 years are up, one of these other guys has solidified himself as a bona fide starter. Be it Alex Wright, be it McGuire, who can play every down.
Well, would you look at that?
What happened?
You could set your watch to it. Here's another Jose dinger.
Did he? Oh, are they on? We're like 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's 2-0 in the top of the first. Dude's going for that MVP, man. Like that is like, good Lord, another damn Jose dinger. What are we doing? So we're very confident they don't need anything in this room.
You mentioned his name earlier, but Quentin Jefferson can play outside too.
I think Michael Hall can.
I just don't know if they'll ask him to do that as a rookie because he's going to have so much coming in. But I do agree.
Yeah.
He definitely has that ability. He has the athletic ability. He's got the prerequisite size, 6'2", 291. He could go out there and definitely hold court.
Well, do you keep Sam Kamara around? Because he can do both.
Yeah. Yep.
When he's played both inside and outside, I have thought Sam Kamara is fine. Mm-hmm. Like I don't, he's not beaten down, it's not beating down the door for playing time, but like if you got to run Sam Kamara out there for like 10 snaps, you're not like, oh shit, there goes Sam. No, like that's not, you feel fine about that. And like when that is a position, and that's a premium position, edge rusher is a premium position. Like if you were asking me, what are your franchise cornerstones? Like, do you remember, I always think about this, but you remember when like the captains, I think is what Madden called them. There was 1 year or 2 years where Madden would put a star under like the captains, like the cornerstones. Your cornerstone positions, and you tell me if you think I'm off base on this. Left tackle, edge rusher, quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver. Those are that's the premium. That's the premium five. That's the big five for me. Yep. You need to feel at least okay about all five of those positions to really feel like you can go deep. And one of those positions, the one we're talking about right now, actually more than one of those positions. We'll talk about that in a later episode. But one of those five cornerstone pieces has the defensive player of the year and two dudes behind him that could be number ones on some other teams. Because I think Ogbo could be your guy somewhere else. Not everywhere.
Yeah.
But, like, would he be number one in Baltimore?
It'd be close, right?
And that's a damn good team and a good defense. I'm just saying. I mean, what? Because it's what? It's OA right now, right? Like, you would have OA as probably their number one.
Clowney was their number one.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. He'd be in contention for it. He's a little lighter. He's more of a I love the role he's in. I just love that he's a change.
That's true.
Because you're bringing guys out, Za'Darius is huge. Myles is huge. So you bring guys a little smaller, gives you a little less strike zone, but he's quicker. Now, I'm not saying he's quicker than Myles, but he's as quick as Myles. But Myles is obviously much bigger. He just gives you something different. Let's have a conversation real quick about Myles, though.
Okay.
Myles he's a great player. You don't have to question his preparation. He puts the work in to be great. But every year it seems that he fades or there's something that just happens. Now, you could say the car wreck, you could say COVID, the shoulder that popped on him last year. He played through it, and he was still getting pressures, but he wasn't getting
a groin injury against the Raiders on that Wednesday game they played.
What does a year for him look like if he doesn't have that happen?
He had 89 pressures this year.
I'm saying.
And he had no sacks in the final 4 or 5 games. He had one.
I think the final 5. I don't think he got any. I don't believe he did. But I'm saying if he has a season where no setbacks, he's due for one, man. He's had one every year. At some point, he's in his physical prime right here, right now. If he makes it through a season without any major injuries, no freak stuff happening, no sicknesses, no car flips, and he plays 17 games at as close to 100% health as he's ever done. And we're talking about a guy who could break the NFL sack record.
Yeah, that's the ceiling.
It should be 20. If he's there, if all those things. If he is that, it should be 20.
With the same amount of pressures he had just getting home.
Yeah.
2-3 more times.
Because I think that was the issue this year, was not necessarily that he wasn't impactful, because he was, but he was not getting home. He was not converting those into sacks. You're right. That was the problem. But I would think the baseline would be 20. I think he would, and I think he would push 100 pressures. I think he would push 100 pressures and 20 sacks if he did those things that you just said. I don't think that's crazy because he just had 89 this year.
I think it's a credit to him that he's been able to play through so many of these issues, and he's never complained about it. He's never made excuses about it. I mean, but you could see that he was obviously hampered in multiple years, and I think that's a great point because you're right. Down the stretch in multiple years here, he's had some type of issue, but if he was just healthy, oh man. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and he was hampered for the last 6.
Yeah.
Right. So what type of the ceiling? It's still just bizarre to have a player.
It could be something we've never seen before in the NFL, which has been played for over 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
100 days. We are 100 days from the NFL opener.
I don't really know how to comprehend that.
And to celebrate, I will now show you the funniest clip of all time.
Okay.
I should have been more prepared for this. Have you ever seen this guy?
On the pod, that's the rule.
Do you know this guy? This guy is a reporter, and he's going to tell you about a murder. Hold on.
I think I may have seen this.
On that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death. The fuck is that? Yeah. I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck? I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out this country, motherfucker. I can't even see me. What really happened on that?
When keeping it real goes wrong.
Get me out of this country ass motherfucker.
Like a pollen flying into my mouth.
Did you see
I think
it?
that's where Randy Gurzy lives, by the way.
Is it?
I believe Augusta. Yeah.
Wow.
Is it? Did you see the moth? Because if you look, you'll see the moth fly in his throat.
No, I didn't see that.
In the middle of, you have to be looking for it, so you have to know it's coming. But that is still remains the funniest. That's live TV, I think.
So week and a half ago, I was doing my job, and I had a bug fly in my nose.
No.
And at the same time, I breathed in, and it went into my throat. And for me, it was a crisis. But for anyone who watched me, so someone had to have seen my reaction. And I'm coughing, and dude, I am not shitting you. I coughed it up, and it flew away. The thing, it made it made the journey.
What?
And flew away?
Yeah, it made it. I could feel it moving, and I was just trying to cough it up, and I got it out. People got to see that. I was in the middle, and I'm internally. That's a crisis that I'm going through in that moment, and that happened to me.
That's a clip right there. I don't.
Through the throat, out.
Yeah.
And you just kept going?
Yeah, I had to, man. The job had to get done.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, no, that set me back. Don't get me wrong. We took a break. We clocked out for a second after that.
Yeah, well, that's
All
a good
right.
place to end the show.
Yeah. I just want to say to everybody, you remind you.
Am I supposed to say it? Hey, the most valuable thing you can give anybody is some of your time. So we appreciate you guys again giving some of yours to us.
And in the spirit of that appreciation, don't forget about the hat.
Oh, Yeah, check out our Twitter tomorrow morning. I will drop it on the Twitter at
Oh, yes.
Barking Browns
It's
24,
sexy.
and we will be giving away your choice of either Brownie the Elf or Darth the Dog, the new training camp hats. If you have not seen them, they are clean. They are white. It's like pretty much an all white, a black bill, and then the Brownie the Elf or the Darth Dog has an orange like border around it. But I just think they're clean. Like, I don't know if I could ever wear one in public because I'd be afraid to get it dirty. But I think they're really clean. They're really, really clean, really crisp. Yeah, like Nick's very dirty hat. Very clean, very crisp. Make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel, like the YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitter, and I'll probably drop a short here on YouTube as well. That way, if you don't have Twitter, a way for you to enter as well. So, yeah.
You're letting the three of us chase dreams, and we're really excited about where all of this is going because the growth recently has been tremendous. So please, that like button is free, that subscribe button is free on YouTube, that it's free on Twitch with Amazon Prime. Just letting people chase dreams here. So thank you to all of you for being here. We've got lots more fun content coming. Maybe a Sunday episode this week.
Yeah, our probably a Sunday again for the film review. One that I'm really looking forward to, the Myles Harden film review coming up.
Okay. With that being said, this has been a Edge review Barking Browns episode. Nick, he's Casey. That's Jacob. Go Browns.
Go Browns.